What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the fifth album by rock band Marilyn Manson. Basically, this project is called The Golden Age of Grotesque, and it came out in the spring of 2003. So the thing about this particular project is this is after like a trilogy of Marilyn Manson albums that was basically like Antichrist Superstar, Mechanical Animals, and then Hollywood, I'd have to suppose. That was pretty good trilogy albums. I reviewed those back in 2016 and pitches like that. Definitely a classic assortment of albums. But this is definitely a classic album here as well. This one, Wikipedia says that this is kind of an amalgamation of like electronic and more beat driven type stuff, which is definitely a pretty good format for Marilyn Manson, I would have to say. I admit that there's not a ton of like shrill kind of metal songs on this particular project. It's a lot more electronic and nightclub oriented, kind of like the stuff that White Zombie was doing back in 95 and Rob Zombie was kind of doing in 98 with Hellbilly Deluxe, some of those type pitches. I mean, this is not necessarily a new metal album, but it definitely has similarities to it, just within the aspect of not being as quite instrumental type as far as that particular kind of goes along with this. Not quite as much drums and guitar and bass guitar and some pitches like that. I suppose it's an interesting concept kind of get this particular project. Relatively brief project in terms of the promotion, but I would still have to say Marilyn Manson was pretty large by this point in 2003. They definitely had most of the Marilyn Manson albums were pretty heralded and overall controversial and just things like that. I'd have to suppose so definitely every single one of those. When you think of Portrait of an American Family, which I gave a 10. Antichrist Superstar, which I think I remember giving it 10 back in 2016. Mechanical Animals was pretty damn good, and Hollywood was pretty damn good. So definitely all these particular albums, and I would even say Smells Like Children from 1995, the EP was a pretty nice one. So this is kind of concept that Marilyn Manson was on a pretty good streak as far as this particular kind of went, and this is no exception. I'll go ahead and say this is basically like a classic rock album out of the early 2000s, I have to suppose. Definitely some excellent type stuff to get here. I do definitely feel like this aesthetic fit Marilyn Manson pretty damn well, I'd have to say in particular. But this is an excellent concept of an album. It's kind of industrial and like a relative sense, but I definitely feel like it's more electro kind of oriented. Definitely some great nightclub music and stuff like that. Definitely some rave type music, nightclub type music, dance bounce and pitches like that. Night venues, restaurants where there'd be food and dancing as far as that pitch kind of goes. As far as that pitch kind of goes, mixed in with a little bit of haunting type appeal that Marilyn Manson is normally known for. Maybe not as ghastly and haunting as albums like Antichrist Superstar and Portrait of an American Family, but definitely has some of that shrillness about it. This is more of kind of like a summer kind of haze type project, I suppose. I mean, not to say it's full blown summer, but just kind of the aspect of just kind of concentrate on being more at like nightclubs and raves, some of those type pitches, and like the summer energy when it's warm out pitches like that. It can be. I don't see it as much of being like a winter and a fall album. I would have to say in particular, but I definitely feel like the concept of some of this in particular definitely has some pretty good stuff just for socialize. Since the social score is definitely going to get a pretty high score. But to talk about the singles on here, basically there were 2.5 singles. Basically, Wikipedia only says that there were two, just Mob Scene and This Is the New Shit. But I also kind of feel like Saint was kind of a relative single, just the fact that it was just too extreme and obscene. They kind of promote as like a single. Interscope didn't want much to do with that particular song, so it was just kind of the concept about it. But they did drop a music video for it, so I'll go ahead and talk about all three of those as far as them being relative singles. But basically, kind of spoil this. Basically, every single song that's a song on this particular album, I recommend. Now, there's an intro and an outro on this particular album that I don't recommend, but basically, out of 15 songs, the 13 songs that are songs I recommend, all 13. That's pretty dope concept. So this album's definitely going to get a 10. But just being able to say, I was surprised at how inspired, just how affable and easy that they cranked out this particular album. It's just pretty crazy that this album just hit the nail on the head that many damn times in terms of the aspect of the execution. But basically, Mob Scene was the first single. It's a nice one. It's like a superb kind of work shift metal snap of a song, I'd have to say. It's definitely some finishing tasks. There's definitely some finishing tasks up, getting ready to head out type tune. I would have to say in particular, and this is just like an early kind of club boiler, I'd have to say in particular. Definitely appreciate the energy on here. This one's a little bit more metal oriented, I would have to suppose. A little bit somewhat industrial, but really just the shrill metalness of this particular one. It's definitely one of the more crazed type ones. A little bit crazier than like the Beautiful People, some of those type pitches, some of the singles, like probably up there with fight music, I'd have to say, from Hollywood, just some pitches like that as far as that particular kind of goes. Just a real nice one, real carnivorous type one that just is pretty shrill for Marilyn Manson early 2000s, I suppose. Real nice one to kind of get here. Easy kind of work shift type song. I mean, this one can kind of be a great one to hear. I mean, maybe not so much at like noon or 1 o'clock amidst like the work day as far as that kind of goes, but definitely for like 4:30, 3:30, 3:45, 4 o'clock p.m. just as work shift is kind of ending pitches like that, and you're getting ready to step out and have some great time as far as that particular goes. Even if it is like a Tuesday, Wednesday night, something like that, I would still recommend playing this song just to kind of have some exhilaration. This is the new shit is the second single. This is another highlight type one. It's definitely like a hopping kind of electro rave music of a song I'd have to say in particular. It's like a great late outing snap of a song I would definitely feel like, and this is just a marketable single I'd have to say. And it's pretty underrated, I have to suppose. This is one. Don't hear this song every day on the radio as far as that pitch kind of goes along with it. Pretty nice one to kind of get here. Just some craze kind of Manson in the chorus and pitches like that. I do like that Manson usually gets to like the second single and nails both of them as far as that pitch kind of goes along with it. Just some good stuff. This one's a little bit more electro kind of. This one's a little bit more electro oriented. I'd have to suppose in particular, but still pretty nice pitch to kind of get this one. Definitely appreciate that. I'm not saying electro oriented like I have a problem with that. I do definitely appreciate this particular set. It works pretty damn well for Marilyn Manson. I suppose they definitely need to do more albums like this, but just I suppose it's a pretty nice one. Pretty just real nice 2000 snaps as far as that particular kind of goes along with it. Just a real good pitch to kind of get some of this. This is a basic kind of vanilla outing type song. Just in particular, this would be a nice one to kind of hear it in an entry sense of just getting to like a nightclub as far as that kind of goes. Or this would just be like a good one for just like being out and about just within that relative pitch, just out and just amongst the aspect of having some good times. I mean, this is a pretty social album, I just would have. So this is the new shit is definitely like one to kind of get in particular just for like some rave type electro type feel as far as that particular kind of goes along with it. Just some excellent type stuff to kind of have for like the dance outings and pitches like that. This is definitely just a good burst of social energy I'd have supposed in particular. Just real marketable type one. It's kind of one that just works for like a good craze. It's just as far as the aspect of kind of getting some of these, because I feel like some of these Manson type ones are just a little bit more high octane just in terms of their gnarled and carnivorous type one, like the Beautiful People, or some of the ones like some of these more carnivorous type ones like the Beautiful People and Tourniquet and some of those type ones, a little bit more high frills type ones that I suppose. But this definitely has like some good marketable type appeal. This is a pretty approachable Marilyn Manson, definitely a good immediate one to kind of go for if you're new to him as far as that pitch kind of goes. Especially this is the new shit, and Mob Scene are two excellent ones for that. Saint is the kind of pseudo third single. This is a pretty nice pitch to kind of get this one in particular. Like I was saying, pretty nice one. Just the concept, the music video is kind of extreme as far as that pitch kind of goes, but it's still pretty nice highlight one to kind of get here. It's like a good evening shift kind of club tune. I'd have to say pretty entry and fraternized fun. Just in particular, I'd have to say about that one. It's like a super kind of hangout tune. I would definitely feel like this is like a spark a blunt and kind of mingle a bit type tune as far as that particular pitch kind of goes. It's a real nice one. Just another electro type one, just as far as that particular kind of goes. Just like some of these kind of entry and just more Rob Zombie, White Zombie type pitches from Marilyn Manson as far as that particular kind of happens. I feel like I do like some of the metal numbers from Marilyn Manson, but there's not really any like power ballads or stretchers on this particular album, which is pretty good. This is mostly just immediate kind of high tempo, up tempo type snaps as far as that kind of goes. The energy is just mostly in your face and just kind of in like a more dance oriented type sense. And this is just a real nice entry type one to get. This is another kind of beginners Marilyn Manson type song to kind of say. Not necessarily beginner, that would mean that like you're a novice or something like that, but just kind of the concept of just a basic type one to kind of have just without all the frills, the bells and whistles that just like the gnarled kind of most emphasize kind of craziness for just for folks that kind of like Marilyn Manson but just don't want the shrill kind of high octane just complete carnivorousness. This is some entry type stuff to kind of get kind of like Eminem's Real Slim Shady and like Without Me and Just Lose It, some of those type ones. Just some entry type stuff from Marilyn Manson, just some vanilla type songs to kind of get for like some dance clubs, I'd have to say. So some nice bops. Just what I'd say. But yeah, like I was saying, basically recommend this whole album, just in particular. It's not a single song on here I don't recommend in some fashion, which I can't think of the last time that really happened. I was not expecting that to kind of happen. There is an international bonus track that's called Tainted Love that's on like the Not Another Teen Movie soundtrack, which I'm gonna have to probably review that soundtrack just to see if that particular cover song's pretty good, because normally Marilyn Manson covers are pretty damn excellent. But well, let's go down the list here just to talk about this thing. So this album's definitely gonna get a 10 out of 10. Just talk about every single song here. So basically, Kaboom Kaboom is one of the album's most high octane kind of songs that had the same particular. It's like a metal smash. I would definitely feel like, and this is just some gnarled craziness and a good outing boiler. It had the same particular. This one definitely has some pretty, like I was saying, just pretty shrill and this overall gnarled, this complete crazy factor is something that gets up there with like Metallica, White Zombie at their craziest, some of those type pitches as far as that kind of goes. It's definitely pretty no frills, kind of high octane type one, just a boiler and just an overall summer highlight to kind of have just for some shrill type energy. This is like a 3-point shot, just some real good net as far as that particular pitch kind of goes. It's a real nice emphasis and decorative type candor that has a lot of good excellence about it. Pretty manic hook as well. Definitely appreciate the energy on that song. Doll Dagga, Buzz Buzz, Ziggity Zag's pretty nice one. Kind of awkward song title, but still pretty nice one. It's like a brewing kind of night venue noise of a song I'd have to say in particular. This one has like a nice metal sheen with it, and just within particular as far as that particular kind of goes. And this is just like a very contemporary bite that this song kind of has. So this is another one that probably could have been a single, something like that, I'd have to suppose. Just some real good nightclub energy, just some good night venue noise to kind of get here, just being at a booth or in a venue, some pitches like that, just appreciating the noise, appreciating the beers, the ladies, pitches like that, the food, some those type pitches. It's kind of one to kind of zone out to. This one, like I feel like the energy on this particular album is just very contemporary as far as that kind of goes along with it. Just some real excellent stuff to kind of get here. This is no exception. This one, maybe not as crazy as Kaboom Kaboom or Mob Scene, but I would definitely say it's a pretty nice one just to kind of enjoy the outing type fare as far as that kind of goes. The Golden Age of Grotesque, the title track's pretty nice one. This is like a leery kind of autumn haze music of a song I'd have to say in particular. This is pretty similar to the stuff from Portrait of an American Family from 1994, Marilyn Manson's debut album. This is just some haunting kind of hangout noise. Definitely appreciate the leeriness. This sort of stuff. This reminds me of the stuff that Korn was doing in '94 in the mid late '90s as far as that pitch kind of goes. Marilyn Manson's no stranger to this sort of stuff. This is some pretty nice stuff to kind of get here. Not terribly many songs like this. Most of this is kind of more electro and dance club oriented, but this is a pretty nice one. This has some of that haunting type sense that Marilyn Manson hasn't forgotten about. This is just pretty nice sheen to kind of get this. Spade is another one that's kind of like that. It's another kind of leery type one. Definitely appreciate some of these. It's like a woozy kind of grim smoke if you hates with a song I'd have to say in particular. It's like some stellar kind of smoky nightclub torment, I would definitely have to say. This is some good outing pizzazz, and this song just overall has some ghoulish flair about it, I have to say. So it's just some pretty good concepts to get some of these in particular. I'd have to suppose just really appreciate the overall just glariness of this particular stuff. This is another one that just reminds me of Korn and early Marilyn Manson, some pitches like that. Other folks like Mushroom Head, some of those type folks have to say. Some real nice haunting type stuff to kind of get here. This is definitely a real woozy type one. It's interesting. Marilyn Manson doesn't full blown go out of his way to talk about smoking in some of these songs on these albums and pitches like that, but this is definitely a real nice one to kind of have for some hangout type flair and just some overall night venue type noise to kind of get for just smoke sessions and just overall more kind of brewing type haziness as far as that kind of goes. That's a nice one. A real interesting type one that was kind of on here that has a chick on this song that's pretty good to kind of get on here is Para Noir. This would have to say it's pretty nice, and it's like a spicy kind of pulsating night pizzazz of a song I'd have to suppose. It's like some great rave outing type stuff, I would have to say, and it goes well with like This Is the New Shit and Saint, I would definitely have to suppose, and even I would have to say probably Doll Dagga, Buzz Buzz, definitely some ones like that. And this is just like a pretty electric type song. It's some good background type music to have for some night type flair as far as pitches going out and just enjoying nightclubs in like a more rock oriented type sense, I'd have to say. If you do like nightclubs, but you want some more rock type stuff, just compared to just strictly rapper pitches like that, is some good concepts kind of get here. Just some good noise, just kind of have for some background type music for just electricity or just like dance clubs and raves and pitches like that. I just appreciate the concept. Chick on the song really kills her particular verses on here. Just some good concepts. She really sounds manic and just spicy on this particular song. Some good concepts. So Marilyn Manson fits with the chick on the song, so it's a pretty good concept. Some nice ones. Use Your Fist and Not Your Mouth is a pretty nice one. It's definitely like a nice, exhilarating kind of evening haze of a song, I'd have to say. It's some pretty steady work shift type. This is some pretty steady work shift ending fun, I'd have to say in particular. And this song is just crazy good. I would definitely have to suppose it's a pretty good concept. Definitely like a lot of this, just in particular, as far as it particularly kind of goes. This is just one for the work shift, I'd have to say pretty good with like This Is the New Shit and Mob Scene, some of those type ones in particular, as far as that kind of goes. This work shift ending just within that relative pitch is the concept of having like the last moments of getting work done, pitches like that, just lacing some things up as far as that particular kind of goes. There's some good night energy that just get you excited for getting ready to step out. I mean, this is not really as much of a full blown kind of shrill carnivorous kind of nightclub song, but it just works within the same sense of just the energy of getting towards it and just kind of being like a primer for it, I had to say. So it's a good concept. You know, it's good to have these blue collar songs on here as well. It's a good concept for that, just to be able to say that. Another song that's kind of like Use Your Fist and Not Your Mouth and Mob Scene would have to be Slut Garden. This is a pretty popular song. Definitely appreciate this one. Really like it. It's like a brewing kind of summer evening kind of excitement of a song, I'd have to say. And it's like a primer for more craze moments, I would definitely feel like. And this is just kind of like an entry kind of early evening fun. So it's a pretty nice one. So this is definitely a pretty good brewer just to kick things off. Pitches like that as far as that particular kind of goes. Just really appreciate the concept of some of these. Just some good nightlife type energy, or at least evening excitement just within that relative pitch. Just a good one to kind of start things, kickstart, kind of get things going just within the relative aspect. This can kind of be car music, traverse type music, but also just kind of backyard getting ready to step out a bit, get some last minute snacks, pitches like that before going out, having some time as far as that particular kind of goes. Just look after the concept, just some good flair to kind of have for some of that. I'd say The Bright Young Things is a pretty nice one. This is like a great backyard party noise of a song I'd have to say in particular. It's definitely like some outdoor kind of smoke sesh energy that I'd have to say in particular, and this is just pitch. And the song is good for some outdoor smoke sessions, I'd have to say in particular, and the energy is pretty pitch. I would definitely feel about this, and this is just some regular kind of fire. So like I said, this album is just the full-blown album. It's just pitch and energy and just overall affability as far as that kind of goes. You get plenty of good nightclub songs. You get some makeshift songs on here, some stuff like that. You get a few backyard party type numbers like Bright Young Things, like the Bright Young Things. I'd probably say Bo Devil's a pretty nice one for that relative pitch. Some of these type ones, Doll Dagga Buzz Buzz is a pretty nice one for some of these type pitches. Just some good concepts kind of get in particular. There's a lot of good social type energies. This is a pretty, like, all these songs are pretty high octane. if you are looking for like a more kind of dreary kind of ballads and pitches like that, or like a kind of more power ballad type stuff, or just something with a little bit more malaise about it, just kind of more bemoaning type stuff, just within a relative aspect, just that typical kind of fair. Marilyn Manson's pretty good at these. He usually makes them more tormented. There's not really like any ballad type songs in this particular album, which is not a terrible thing, but maybe it could have used like at least one to be able. I'm not really criticizing that point because usually I don't connect as full blown wholesomely with ballads every single time. I just would say it would have been interesting to kind of see him do something that relative pitch, is to wonder if that could have happened. But yeah, there's just plenty of good pitch energy on here. Better Two Evils is another nice one. It's like a thumping kind of vanilla venue pizzazz, I'd have to say in particular. It's like some get it. This song gets things started, I'd have to say, and this is just some good fraternized kind of evening enjoyment, I'd have to say in particular. So this is just another good popish type one. Works great with Doll Dagga Buzz Buzz and some of those type ones. Saint, this is the new shit. Some of these type ones in particular. Slut Garden, Spade, some of those type ones just kind of get. Most of these are just kind of interchangeable, just with like the social kind of nightlife energy, I'd have to say in particular. It's just a good concept to kind of get all these, just with the shrillness and this overall factor of how these songs deliver, I'd have to say. So it's just a good concept. All the instrumentation on this album is really excellent. Just really appreciate the aesthetic and the overall production values of this, even if it's not as metal prone and there's not like guitar solos and stuff like that. Just the riffage and things like that. I feel like the aesthetic behind this project is just pretty top notch. It's definitely one of Marilyn Manson's best produced albums in terms of the shrillness. Vo Devil's another classic hit here. I just would have to say it's like a pulsating kind of night energy of a song. I'd have to say it's like some thrilling kind of manic times. I would definitely feel like, especially in the chorus, it's like a typical kind of craze Manson, I would have to say. And this is just like a great nightclub. And this would just be some great nightclub tunes, I'd have to say. So it's just some excellent type stuff here to kind of get. It's pretty good, excellent type fray stuff. Just in the fray pitches like that. Some good turn up type vibes to kind of get here. Real good shot in the arm as far as that pitching goes. And this is just a real thrilling type time overall, just with a lot of these. So yeah, the score of this album gets a 10 out of 10. The social score is going to get a 10 out of 10 also, just because the shrillness factor. It has the makeshift songs on here if you are looking for some of those type moments. There's some moments like Mob Scene, Doll Dagga Buzz Buzz, Slut Garden, some of those type pitches. I would even say like some ones that kind of are miss the work shift, just getting done with it, like Use Your Fist and Not Your Mouth, some of those type pitches, just being able to say. Some great smoke session songs like Spade and Paranoir, some of those type ones. Just some good hangout type songs, PlayStation type music pitches like that. Just would have to overall kind of say just a lot of good throws just to be able to do a lot of these things. The social scores is pretty off the meter. Just crazy how Marilyn Manson managed to nail this particular album, going from Hollywood to this. Not to say Hollywood is bad, but just the fact that Marilyn Manson was able to get so many classics out just this many times is pretty shrill. Kind of like Limp Bizkit for me, just how many times they get this many 10 out of 10s, I'd have to say. But in terms of the future, Marilyn Manson has not really been around since 2020. He kind of went through some cancel culture kind of stuff back in 2020, 2021 with pitches like that. It's kind of curious. He got dropped from a tour or something like that. He's just had some fines and problems as far as that pitch kind of goes. But hopefully we'll get some more albums. I mean, this cancel culture stuff might be somewhat relevant just within the pitch behind it. I mean, it's just here and there. Hopefully that they can get this sorted out with money and pitches like that, because I would like to get some more Marilyn Manson projects. I don't promote the violence that went along with some of this type of stuff. I would have to say it'd be nice to get some more Marilyn Manson albums and pitches like that, because basically I only have one more album by Marilyn Manson to review, and that's just The Pale Emperor, which we're going to get to soon enough, I'd have to say. So basically that'll be coming within the coming months as far as that kind of goes. But this is another classic for Marilyn Manson. I do basically very highly recommend this one.